Hi there, Fanny. Great job writing these essays. It's nice to see more essays from you. Let's get straight into your corrections. We can see what you wrote. Okay, so we've got the task one. It's the 4 different types of sources of calorie intakes. Let's see what you had to say. The bar chart shows the total consumption of calories through 4 categories of food for UK men during the 3 main periods of the lifespan, you could have said here. Okay, fine. Firstly, if dairy products are the favorite food for the 0 to 24 years old, it gradually decreases with the years, from over 40% to around 25%, and finally 15% from 0 to 24 years old, 25 to 49 years old, and over 50 respectively. Okay, Fanny, so let's talk about this one for a minute. Now, this is something that a lot of people have like a misunderstanding with. This isn't really a dynamic bar chart. And what do I mean by that? I mean that even though you've got these 3 different age groups, we're not talking about changes over time. What I mean by that is that it's as if the people who conducted this survey found a group of 0 to 24-year-olds and asked them, what do you like to eat? And the same thing for 25 to 49-year-olds and over 50 years old. But they're not the same people. So we really can't talk about decreases. I hope that makes sense, because it's not the same group of people. And by that I mean these particular 0 to 24-year-olds, it's possible that, when they become 25 to 49-year-olds, they'll still prefer dairy. Does that make sense? So what this really means is that you need language of comparison, but not language that talks about decreases, increases, and so forth, because nothing is increasing and decreasing. It's like a photograph of a moment in time for these particular people. All right, and like I said, the reason why I mention that is because it changes the vocabulary you're going to use. All right, so let's look at it again, starting with this paragraph. Firstly, dairy products are the favorite food for the 0 to 24-year-old group, but this is considerably less for the other age groups. So you could have continued with this, and you could have said over 40% for the first group. You can't say again dropping. 15% less for the 25 to 49-year-olds, and even lower than that for the over 50-year-olds. Okay, so do you see how the vocabulary changes quite a bit? Okay, vegetable intake, because vegetable here is your adjective. Vegetable intake tends, with an S, to follow the same pattern, and at the ages 0 to 24 years old, at the ages of 0 to 24, men eat almost twice as much of them as at over 50. Okay, this is perfect. So this is exactly the kind of vocabulary you need to use, this vocabulary of comparison. Eat almost twice as much at, eat double the amount of, and so forth and so forth. Okay? All right, so moving on. Secondly, pulses in meat intake tend to fluctuate during the years. Okay, no, this is not the kind of language you need for something like this. We're not talking about fluctuations. However, pulse consumption reaches a peak at 65% for the category over 50 years old, whereas meat is more popular for the 25 to 49-year-olds. Yeah, here you need to change the S from here, and it's 25 to 49-year-olds. Okay? Representing 50% of the eaten food. That's fine. Overall, it is clear that throughout their lives, men's calorie intake varies, I guess, but even this, like I said, it's not the same people here. Okay, at first they would eat dairy products, okay, followed by meat, and finally pulses. So Fanny, I really hope you've understood what I'm trying to say here at different periods. Yeah, I mean, it's just different age groups of men being asked this question, so it's not really throughout one person's lifetime. I hope that helps. Let's take a look at your other essay here. Do copyright laws limit creativity or reward it? Would society function better without such rules and regulations? Let's see what you had to say. Whether copyright laws limit or reward creativity is a debatable topic which has grown in importance in recent years due to the advent of the internet. This essay will discuss both sides, using examples from YouTube and research from Harvard Business Review to support arguments. Okay, nice. Now, if you're really looking for that extra something here, you could have also made some sort of mention of how these rules either help society function better or worse. Okay, you could have mentioned that as well in your introduction. All right, but moving along. On the one hand, copyright laws and regulations, okay, so get the S away from here and put it here, hinder creativity. This is because people who could use some content in a different, new, and creative way are afraid of doing so for fear of infringement, thus risk of being sued, not risks. For example, a YouTube spokesman explained that any content uploaded on their platform needs to satisfy the international law of intellectual property. However, if it doesn't, and the studios do not give their permission, then the content will not only be removed, but also the uploader might be sued for violating the law. Therefore, whereas it could be a win-win situation where amateurs borrow from the studios, giving new exposure, hence new revenue streams, most people are afraid to do so. All right, that's nice. A lot of nice language, really strong example. So well done. And the grammar was also a lot of nice advanced things here. Like, what did I like? Oh yeah, right here, like this. Are afraid to do so. Excellent. Okay. So on the other hand, media content should be protected. This is due to the fact that creating takes time and broadcasting is costly. For instance, the Harvard Business Review showed that the cost of a 1.5-hour movie varies on average from $2 to $20 million. Therefore, the access to such product cannot, this is one word, be free and should be protected to generate more profit for the studio, which in return allows them to create even more future content. Okay. To summarize, I strongly believe that rules and regulations enhance the value of content, not a content, by protecting it rightfully against misuse and free sharing. All right, so check it out. Fanny, here's what happens. You had these two questions. You had question 1 here, and then this was question 2. So you answered this here. You said that it hinders creativity. But here, you're just talking about how, I mean, it basically rewards, it, in other words, how can I say this in a way that is like coherent? I know I'm not making sense. I apologize. Basically, you've answered this question only. You've answered both sides of it, and you didn't address this at all. Okay. I mean, maybe if someone's really stretching, they could say that, oh, well, you know, she's trying to tell us that, yes, society functions better because movies can create more content, but that's really stretching it. I mean, essentially, you just answered both sides of this question, and that's not enough. Essentially, you need to remember that each question that they ask you in the task needs its own paragraph, okay? And they should have fairly equal development in terms of length. So even though you had a lot of really beautiful elements, some really nice grammar, some really nice vocabulary, the cohesion was very good in lots of different places, this would be a big problem that you didn't answer one of the questions, okay? So bear that in mind, and when you make your correction, do try to actually directly answer this question here in the second paragraph, okay? So, or rather, yeah, I mean, just, you know, make sure you address it, okay? So nice job with the rest of the elements of your essay, but like I said, do make sure that you dedicate a paragraph to the second question as well, okay? So with that, good luck continuing to write, and definitely I will be looking forward to seeing more of these essays from you.